Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I'm on the road again, man. I got to get myself out this funk. I got to get some of this belly off of me. I got to get into the swing of things. You know, it's funny here. It's great to have OTAs. You know, the world is a crazy place. You know, we're only here for a short amount of time. And I always say you need to enjoy every second because you don't know when your seconds are up. And, you know, people want to steal your joy. They want you to feel depressed. Now, I don't know how my Cowboy season is going to turn out this week. I honestly don't know. I really don't know. It may end up being great. It may end up being garbage. We just don't know. But why sit here and be depressed about it? Why not enjoy a little bit of excitement right now while you can? Because, you know, I looked and I see George Pickens out there, you know, not crazy about the number 13, but him looking really good and getting along with everybody. All of the narrative that, you know, George Pickens is, you know, like he is literally a Karen. You would think he's a Karen, the way they talk, okay? I don't know what's the male version of Karen, but that's the way it made it seem out. Everything I have seen thus far about George Pickens has been incredible, okay? Everything about my coach. You like to hear the things that you hear about the coach and the relationship that they're building. You can't say he does not know X's and O's. He took Mark Sanchez as an offensive coordinator to the AFC Championship game a couple times. Russell Wilson, when Russell Wilson was cooking, the last time Russell Wilson was cooking, he was the offensive coordinator. And he was here with Dak just 2 seasons ago when he was a runner-up MVP. And what we know is the players are buying into him. So, yes, I feel joy. And 49er fan, bro, you're not going to steal my thunder. I'm going to enjoy it. If it ends up being that the season is ass, well, I'm going to enjoy the time that I have. So you do you. You go watch your baseball and be happy about watching baseball. I ain't a baseball fan. I'm not. Don't do basketball. Don't watch hockey. Don't do NASCAR. I do NFL football. And that, my friends, these days is a 365-day-a-year job. It is. What time? Listen, I'm more busy now during the season. We had the end of the season, the Super Bowl. We had the combine. We had free agency. We had the draft. Now we got OTAs. Okay? We got so much to deal with. And I'm enjoying it. So let me enjoy it. Besides, if the Cowboys season goes to shit, I'm sure you'd rather see me up here feeling great about them and then hitting rock bottom. So, minicamp, it's very telling. We're getting all kinds of great things that are going on. And I'm headed back up the road because I've got to get working in this kitchen. Had my historic meeting and everything else. Took care of checking the plants and stuff. My potatoes up. Potatoes are growing real good right now. My onions are growing. And the chipmunk, the groundhog hasn't gotten those. So that's a good thing. Anyway, be that as it may, I saw a clip of Dan Orlovski. And Dan Orlovski was saying, you know, putting up the warning flags about the Dallas Cowboys, about their defensive front. And I had already was thinking about this because before I even saw the clip of Dan Orlovski, my question is, will the Cowboys do more to address the defensive line? What Dan Orlovski did, was basically say, I don't know that the Cowboys are going to be able to hold up against the run. That, the Achilles heel for the Cowboys has been stopping the run. It has been. And there's, as much as you may hate Dan Orlovski, he's been right. Is teams have been able to run us to death. You think about, the playoff game, first 49er playoff game there, they rushed for 169 yards. We've had some games last year where they just ran roughshod on us. And when you look at the moves the Cowboys have made, Osendigizua coming back, he is a great pass rushing defensive tackle. But he's not really that big a body to be a great run stopper. You bring in a guy like Solomon Thomas. Solomon Thomas has got about a 46 run stopping grade, like a 66 pass rushing grade. It's great. And then there is Mozzie, one of my favorites, and I hope that Mozzie doesn't make a liar out of me, because I still believe that Mozzie will continue to get better. And then the Cowboys drafted Jay Tola. And Jay Tola, he's a headbanger. He's definitely a headbanger. But here's the thing about defensive linemen. They need a lot of seasoning. They really and truly need a lot of seasoning. Defensive tackles, typically, you'll see them playing really well into their 30s. In fact, some of them don't seem to get into the groove until their later 20s. And so the first couple of years, and it's taken, Mozzie was terrible his rookie year and injured. Started off the season last year not good, but got better as the season got on. Hopefully he will continue this trajectory of getting better. But the Cowboys may need to add still some more help that's more of a dedicated run stopper. So Dan Orlovski, put us on blast and said, basically Cowboys suck at stopping the run. They're going to be ass, and there are, that the clock has turned back to teams being able to run the football like they did in the early 2000s. Okay. Shout out to Holly Pierce, who sent me a Micah Parsons tweet about 8 hours ago. So I guess that was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And Micah Parsons reiterated something I kind of said a couple of weeks ago. I said that the Dallas Cowboys, the best way you protect your defense is by scoring a lot of points. And Micah Parsons reiterated that same point. Because as he put it, he's like, I remember my rookie year when we had CD, Dak, and the running game, and he said they're putting up about 30 points. Basically, he sees that same thing again and says, we'll be okay, which is the truth. If you can score at will and keep scoring and turn it into a track meet, because a team needs to keep pace, they're not going to be able to run the football as much. They're going to become more one-dimensional. The Cowboys, let's be clear here, with Dante Fowler, who again is another great edge rusher, with Donovan Easy, with the Solomon Thomas, with the Osendigizua, with the Micah Parsons, with the Sam Williams. These guys are guys that you want to have selling out to get upfield. That's where they're going to be most effective. And the best way you can maximize that is by scoring a whole lot of points. And see, that's unfortunately the misnomer that happens during the regular season for the Cowboys. Cowboys offense is able to light up the scoreboard. And because we're lighting up the scoreboard, teams are one-dimensional, in which case they're having to play against your strength, not your weakness. When the playoffs come, the weather gets bad, the players aren't quite as fast as they were. You've been through the ringer of a long season. Running the football becomes more advantage for the teams. It's better to be able to run the football. It just is. Good old caveman. And by the time we get to the end of the season, because we have guys that are prototypically longer, leaner guys that aren't great run stoppers, they can get blown out of the hole. So, I hear what you're saying, Micah, that we'll be okay, but there's going to come some games where we need to be able to hold the line, and I still would like to get a nice, great interior defensive tackle to help slow down that run. To me, that is the biggest bang for your buck. If you get a guy that requires double teams in the middle, Micah, bro, you get 20 sacks. Ain't no lie, you'll get 20 sacks. So we'll see what they do. Micah apparently is showing up for OTAs. He's getting it in. He's talking the talk. He's being a team leader. The only thing he's not getting so far is his check. And I hope the Cowboys are working on that. He's been no distraction whatsoever. Now, for the Cowboys offense, we need to be able to get back to being able to run the football. And Javonte Williams might be one of those keys. Now, of course, we got Jaden Blue, and we got Miles Sanders in there. We got Hunter Lipke in there. We got the other guy we drafted. I keep wanting to say Mustafa, but I know that's wrong. Javonte Williams, through OTAs yesterday, was talking about his knee. Not everybody can recover like Adrian Peterson did. Adrian Peterson still to this day has the fastest full recovery from an ACL that we've ever seen. And typically, when you come back from an ACL, you can perform on the field, but you're not performing on the level. That's one of those things where they say, oh, a guy's healthy. He's playing, but I don't know that he's actually healthy. We've seen some of our guys that are coming back from ACLs that aren't anywhere near where they were. Michael Gallup definitely came back. He was on the field and able to play, but he was not the same Michael Gallup at all. Even into the next year, a lot of the confidence that he had in the knee had not returned. It usually takes another year after having that ACL. Well, Javonte Williams tore his ACL 2 years ago, and he was admitting that the last 2 years it hadn't really been there 100%. Some of the flexibility wasn't there, and if you ever have an ACL injury or if you ever have a bad knee injury, for me, especially before I got my meniscus fixed in my knee, it always felt like you had one of the bungee cords like at your ankle that you're always pulling extra. It's like, it's tight. And you don't have that same burst. You don't have that same feeling. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking about, is this sucker going to blow? He's admitting that he's kind of had those kind of feelings with the knee where it hasn't been quite right. And now is really the first time that it's really feeling like he's ready to let it rip. And that's a great thing if that is the case. We're going to have competition across the board. And running back is definitely going to be one of those ones that you're going to see guys that are fighting for their NFL careers here. And as bad as it is for the players, because, you know, we start to get to know these guys, especially, this is the hardest part, and I don't know that you get this the same way with other teams, but because you got a Law, you got a Foots, you got a Rome, you got, you know, your Vosh Lombardis, and you got an open training camp, you really get to know the players that may not be there. You know, guys that have been that are on the bubble. You know, we go through, we tell you what they do good, what they do bad, you know, their life story, how they can fit in, and you know, we pump them up. to then lose them. It's kind of like if you're a farmer and you name the cows, and at some point you got to get them slaughtered to get in the freezer. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the right analogy, but you get attached, and then you know, and we get attached to a lot of players, and then they're no longer here. I guess that's just the tough part about football. Alrighty, good people, at least y'all helped me get up the road. Only an hour and 24 minutes away. And you know what's nice? Since I wasn't at the man cave yesterday, I don't know, is it 106 days? I don't even know. I'm going to be surprised when I get back. I think we're at 106, and tonight will be 105. The clock is ticking, closer and closer to the NFL season. As always, good people, I appreciate you guys. And I've got to be on the Dan Orlovski show. Oh, shit. Damn. I'll get to the job site at 10. Mike's meeting me there because it's raining and he can help me with the electrical. And then at 4:30, I've got to be back in the man cave to go on the Dan Orlovski show. Alrighty, with Philly 500. So there's that. So it's a busy day, and y'all wonder why I'm yawning all the time. Shit. Up at 6 o'clock this morning so I can hit the road. Drive 2.5 hours. And then bust an ass for about 6 hours. And then get back and do a live stream. Yeah. Peace out.